The danger from Iran is grave, it is real, and my goal will be to eliminate this threat.
When you have a president who comes to the United Nations and says that his country is going to, quote, wipe Israel off the map, calls Israel, quote, stinking corpse, they have the means to do it. We will never allow a second Holocaust.
Warning that Iran's nuclear ambitions could lead to war.
I believe they want to have the capacity, the knowledge, in order to make a nuclear weapon, and I know it's in the world's interest to prevent them from doing so. I believe that the Iranian, if Iran had a nuclear weapon, it would be a dangerous threat to world peace. We got a leader in Iran who has announced that he wants to destroy Israel. So I've told people that if you're interested in avoiding World War III, it seems like you ought to be interested in preventing them from having the knowledge necessary to make a nuclear weapon.
An Emmy to one of the most outrageously devious pieces of war propaganda ever televised?
The following nominees show us that a fascinating and compelling interview has the timing, strategy, and skill of Roger Federer at the U.S. Open. Interplay that's ultimately revelatory and enlightening for both the subject, the interviewer, and everyone who has a front row seat. And the winner is CBS News, 60 Minutes, President Ahmadinejad.
Please explain why.
I think that the Israeli government is a fabricated government.
Iran's President Ahmadinejad scares a lot of people when he says things like that.
2 times during the segment, 60 Minutes played that soundbite. Both times they cut off Ahmadinejad's full answer in order to trick the public into being scared. Mike Wallace misrepresented Ahmadinejad's response by editing out the solution Ahmadinejad suggested, and they give Mike Wallace an Emmy for the biggest lie that elites used to push for a war on Iran. What makes the case of this winning interview special is that we were given access to the full interview because an unedited version was shown on C-SPAN. Here's the manipulative way they cut off the answer right after he says fabricated government.
Why?
Well, don't be hasty, sir. I'm going to get to that. I think that the Israeli government is a fabricated government.
Fabricated following the Holocaust, which he has said may also have been fabricated.
The unedited version reveals the game being played when they created their fascinating and compelling interview.
Why?
Well, don't be hasty, sir. I'm going to get to that. I think that the Israeli government is a fabricated government. And I have talked about the solution. The solution is democracy. We have said, allow Palestinian people to participate in a free and fair referendum to express their views. What we are saying only serves the cause of durable peace. We want durable peace in that part of the world. A durable peace will only come about once the views of the people are met. So we said that allow the people of Palestine to participate in a referendum to choose their desired government. And of course for the war to come to an end as well. Why are they refusing to allow this to go ahead? Even the Palestinian administration and government, which has been elected by the people, is being attacked on a daily basis. And its high-ranking officials are assassinated and arrested. Yesterday, the Speaker of the Palestinian Parliament was arrested, elected by the people, mind you. So how long can this go on? We believe that this problem has to be dealt with fundamentally. I believe that the American government is blindly supporting this government of occupation. It should lift its support, allow the people to participate in free and fair elections. Whatever happens, let it be. We will accept and go along.
As a result of that interview to begin with, he became a world important figure. Well, what's to say?
What's to say is you return that Emmy, and then you go on TV and you apologize to the world for bringing us to the brink of World War III. That's what's to say, Mr. Wallace. Please, everyone, pass this video on to everyone you can. We've got to get everyone else to understand what's...
But there's been such hostility between the two countries, or at least the leaders of the two countries. Do you think you can make steps forward in that regard?
Well, of course, the hostility has not been from our end till this day. We have always been interested in having friendly relations. The hostility has been one-sided on the part of American politicians, and our nation has always defended itself against that hostility. But it's clear that nations do not have any problems with one another, and we don't have any issues with the American people. But when the American government uses the language of force, we have no choice but to defend against it. We've done a lot. If you recall, I sent a letter to Mr. Bush. The letter can be the start of a fresh endeavor in relations. We assisted in Iraq to establish safety and security as well as a new government. And I also asked that we talk with one another in the United Nations.
The President has not responded to your letter, has he?
I think that Mr. Bush has lost a lot of good opportunities, including these recent ones and initiatives by me.
Well, he's leaving office. You will be dealing with a new president. By the way, do you have a preference among the American candidates?
No, we do not have a preference of any sort, because we believe that these are issues relating to the domestic affairs of the United States, and decisions pertaining to that must be made by the American people. And it's not important to us either. What matters, essentially, is that the president that is chosen by the American people should adopt a path and a policy approach, and for us to observe that policy approach. This is the campaign period. Anyone can say anything. So we disregard that. What matters is that once someone is in office, we have to watch and see if that person will bring about some changes in policy or continue the same old path. I think that's more important than who is actually voted into office.
Why do you think Bush, McCain, Obama, why don't they want to talk to you?
You should ask that from them. Don't ask me.
Well, you're regarded as...
We are for talks and dialogues.
But you've been regarded as a hostile state, and there are many things that Americans worry about with regard to Iran. You would agree that you are, for want of a better word, a controversial figure. Are you not?
The country of Iran has a historical presence that extends to 7,000 years. And never has the Iranian nation taken a misstep against another nation. Throughout history, it has demonstrated that it is a nation that is for peace and friendly with others. The war that occurred in the past century, the only war that confronted us in a major scale, was Saddam Hussein's war against us. That was, if you recall, supported by the U.S. government and a number of European governments against us, actually. And what we did was defend ourselves innocently. Of course, I will always defend the rights of my nation, the independence of my nation, the rights, the legal rights of my nation, and this is the responsibility of every president. But this defense does not mean that we must infringe on the rights of other nations, not at all. You are aware that in the course of the U.S. attack on Iraq, we were asked, in fact, to enter into the coalition or the war to some extent, not the coalition but the war, just to make up for the war that Saddam launched against us, that went on for 8 years, to basically get him to retaliate and revenge the war, in other words. But we refrained. We refused.